Dr. Brooke here. I just wanted to show everybody how to set up a workspace for when you're working from home, since so many people have been told that they need to work from home lately. I figured this would be a good time to post a video where you can follow along with some of these recommendations. I've made a couple of posts with pictures, but I figured that following along would be really easy for everyone to follow, and so I decided to make a little video for it. Why should you trust me? Well, one of my additional certifications, in addition to my chiropractic degree, is in workspace wellness, and so I am qualified to go into workspaces and provide ergonomic help and suggestions. And I wanted to allow all of you this option, viewing from home, to be able to set up the perfect workspace for you to minimize back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, and headaches. And so I'm going to show you a few different options. I have seated options, I have a standing desk, and then at the end I'm going to show you how to properly line up your chair in case you don't know how to do that. So we're going to go ahead and get started with my first couple of options here, which are seated. So the first thing that you'll notice is we have a chair, and the chair has a back, and having a chair with a back is super important for your back and your body. Otherwise, your postural muscles are holding up all of your body weight throughout the whole day, and it's not getting a break. So having a chair with a back is key. If you can, find a chair with a little bit of an arched back. That'll support the natural curve in your back. That's called a lordosis, and it'll allow your body to use those postural muscles a little bit less. So finding a chair with a back, if you can find one with a curve. If your chair has a flat back, that's okay. You can roll up a towel, either a thin towel, and go gradually thicker until you feel the right amount of support. Roll it up into a little circle ball and have it just rest in that curvature that is down there. Then your back will be supported and you'll be ready to go facing the front. The other important thing with the chair and with how you sit is that your knees should be at 90 degrees or 110 degrees. So anywhere from 90 degrees to 110 degrees is okay. 110 degrees means that your knees are closer to the floor than they are to the ceiling. So 90 is flat, 110 looks a little bit more like this. Having that provides that you just sit up a little bit straighter, keep that posture good, and keep those postural muscles working the way that they're designed to instead of working against you. 110 degrees is probably my preferred angle if I had to pick one for myself, because then my flexors in my hips, my hip flexors, would not be tight and contracted. So the next thing, and the iPad isn't perfectly set up for this, but it's a good example of some of the options I'm going to provide for you at the end here. So the iPad is not set up so my eyes are seeing the top third of the screen. I have to look down. But our desktop is set up, my eyes track to the top third of the screen. That's good. That means I'm not looking down all day. When you look down, it's putting stress and tension through the neck muscles, and it's making you go in a way that your body isn't designed to. It's going against your natural curve, so then you're looking down constantly. There's a phenomenon called text neck, and it's when you're always looking down, or tech neck, if you will, too. You're always looking down and you're putting extra stress and strain through there, and it really affects your muscles, your ligaments, and even sometimes the structure of the curvature of your neck. So want you looking up and straight ahead, keeping that good curve there. And this is set up so our eyes track to the top third of the screen, but maybe you can kind of tell that it hasn't always been set up that way. We do have a little, our little monitor underneath here, or not monitor, tower underneath here, underneath of our desktop. So for this one that isn't that way, what can you do? Well, if you have books at home, which I think most people have books at home, you can stack this on top of a bunch of books until your eyes track at that top 1/3. And with that, you kind of have to decide what's the most comfortable for you, because you also want your shoulders relaxed when you're typing. So how we have the desktop set up is ideal. Our shoulders can be relaxed while we're typing, and our eyes can track to the top third of the screen. For the iPad option, we would have to pick one or the other. Either we could set it up and we could have it so that our eyes track to the top third of the screen, but then we have to type up higher, or we can have it down and we can type and our eyes can track a little bit lower. So really just depends on you and what you are more comfortable with and wanting throughout the day. You can probably alter it as well. So if you have the option for books, you can set it up on top of books. If you have the option to relax your shoulders, you can do it, and then you can alternate throughout the day. That will minimize pain and discomfort as well. The next thing I want to show is I want to show you more of a standing workstation. So some of the options that you have to create that are, if you have a table like this and you have a tote or a tub, you can flip that tote or tub upside down and it'll be the correct height for you to have a standing desk. All right, so here's a sample of a standing workstation, and I'm going to show you we also have a higher chair that we can use. The same rules apply to a standing workstation. You still want your eyes to track to the top third of the screen. You still want your shoulders relaxed while you're typing. And one thing that we've done that has really helped to balance things out is we have our mouse over here on our right hand and our phone to use with our left hand. That just helps with balancing what you're using when, instead of always using your right hand, evening out what you're reaching for, basically. So having said all of that, you would ideally have it set up so that your monitor is with your eyes tracking the top third of the screen. I am a couple inches taller than everybody else that works here, so my eyes don't track exactly to the top third of the screen. I do have to look down just a touch, but it's perfect for everybody else that works here. If I really wanted to, like I had talked about earlier, I could stack a couple books underneath while I was working up here, and I could stack it up so that my eyes track to the top third of that monitor. The other thing is we have this nice chair here, and this chair is almost perfect for what we were talking about earlier. It has this swerve to the back that supports the lower back, that lumbar spine. And then when you sit in it, it's awesome too because it has a spot for your feet. You can put your feet and have them rest instead of dangle. Having your feet dangling is okay, but it's not perfectly ideal. In a perfect world, you would have either a footrest or the ability to rest your feet flat on the ground. And as I was going to show you, with this taller seat, my eyes do track to that top third of the screen. So for me, it's most efficient for my body if I do sit in the chair. But sometimes when we're working longer shifts, we want to be able to do sit to stand and be able to have those two options. And like I talked about a little bit earlier, you can create your own standing desk. So to create your own standing desk, you can, if you have a tabletop height, if you have a tote available, you can flip that tote upside down. You can put your computer, whether it's a desktop or a laptop or what have you, up on top of that tote, and it will then be a good height for a standing desk for you. You could also potentially put that tote on top of your bed if that's a better height and work from there. The other thing that you can do is, like we had said, stack some books so that everything is the correct height for you. If you have any questions on any of that, go ahead and put them in the comments below. I would be glad to answer any questions you may have. I hope that you had a great time following along with all of this. The last thing that I'm going to go ahead and show is how to set your chair up to different heights. In case people don't know that, it's pretty common knowledge these days, but I just wanted to share it for people who may not know. All right, so the last thing I wanted to show is just in case people didn't know how to do this, how to move your chair up and down depending upon what your needs are. So usually chairs have a back, like I said, but for our office and our office purposes, since we stand up and sit down often, we have a saddleback chair. Saddleback is good because it offers support. So if you have a job where you're up and down often, you might want to consider a saddleback chair. or even an exercise ball. Those are also really good options for people who do have back pain, things like that. But as I said before, the typical recommendation is a chair with a back with a lumbar support. So for changing your chair height, usually there's just this little knob in here, and you can raise it up or down. As I said before, the ideal angle for people is 90 degrees to 120 degrees. So how I am right now is actually really great, but a lot of times you want to be sitting with your ankles at 90 and your knees at 90. So you would want to come up a little bit. We're pretty lucky too. Our chair actually has tilt. So we have the option where we can tilt forward or backwards, depending upon the best angle for us and for our bodies. And yeah, I just wanted to show everybody the best way to change their chair. A lot of chairs have these little paddles here where you can bring it up, bring it down, do whatever you need. If for some reason your chair doesn't have that as an option, you can find a little, maybe an Amazon box that's a little bit flat, or some sort of a box, a shoe box even, or 2 shoe boxes, put them under your feet. So then your feet are propped to a good position. Having your feet flat is just gonna help take pressure, tension, stress, and strain off of that spine. So that is all that I have for you. I hope that this helped you to set up your workstation if you needed a little bit of help or assistance. And I hope that if you already have a workstation set up, you were able to follow along and get yours set up as good for you as possible. I hope that you have a great rest of your day and that you stay safe and healthy and